there of the Jacob Blake situation in Milwaukee. Just such a terrible situation that we're going through in this country still after so many years of this. For a man to get shot 7 times by cops, unarmed, in front of his kids, that's scary. And, not only for me, but, every African American, every minority in this country.
Obviously, the things that's going on now and happened today, with Jacob Blake, which is totally unacceptable. And we definitely want to use our voices for that victim as well. And he's one of the lucky ones because he survived. Once you see the current events that's going on today, it just make you go back to your childhood and remember why you're afraid.
Quite frankly, it's just in our community, and us. I know people get tired of hearing me say it, but we are scared as Black people in America. Black men, Black women, Black kids. We are terrified. It hurts. It hurts. And it's this through the grace of God that he's still living. Like 7 shots, close range, and he's still alive. That's through the grace of God right there.
To the Jacob Blake family, I just want to let you know, for people that have a platform, we're going to continue to say your name and get justice for you, along with Breonna Taylor and every other victim of police brutality.
NBA resuming play. Lakers-Blazers coming up at 6. Reports the last few days. LeBron, one of the players at the forefront of all the talks. And here's a tweet from Shams of The Athletic, tweeting this. LeBron James led a small group of players who sought advice of Barack Obama on Wednesday, and the former president offered them guidance to continue playing with plan of action. Rob, some guys will call the world coach. LeBron calls 44. President Barack Obama. It's pretty impressive and not a bad person to call in times like this.
Yeah, when you can reach out to a former president like Barack Obama and get some advice, you better listen up. And I heard they had a couple other guys on that call, like CP3, who was head of the Players Association. It's great that you can get some advice because this guy has been in a lot of boardrooms, advised a lot of head of states. He's been in a lot of situations that are bigger than this situation, sort of, like this is. But it's great to have a voice like Obama's to give somebody, some guidance.
Yeah, the modern day athlete has evolved into more than just, being a presence on the floor. Now, we've always had guys that, had contacts and that were doing stuff in the community and had social awareness. Kareem being one of them. We talked about some of the other ones. But the modern day athlete like LeBron, to be able to be involved in the community, set up schools, in the movie industry, and then to be able to have those contacts where you can call Barack Obama on the phone for a serious issue, someone who could lend you like real advice. Not to say no one else can, but that is the LeBron that, the athlete of the modern day.
And it sounds, Rob, from what everyone's reading in the reports that have come out over the last few days, LeBron and others adamant about a plan of action and what that's going to look like. And that's just not the players, it's the owners. It's not just, hey, let's boycott a game. All right, let's go back and play. There has to be a plan.
Yeah, they all came together and said, okay, we boycotted. Now we got everybody listening to us and looking at us. What are we going to do? This is the plan of action that we're going to start out with. And I know there's some other plans in the works that they're going to get out and put out there. So, but you have to start somewhere. The voting centers and all the other things that they got in place is huge because now they're letting everybody know, look, we have a platform. We're not just going to sit back and let you praise us. We're going to praise you for supporting us and putting us on this platform.
Chris Paul adamant about every player in that meeting registering to vote, literally walking them through the process. And James, a lot of young guys aren't registered. How important is that vote? Like you had daughters when they were growing up and it was time to that they were allowed to. I'm sure you told them how important it was.
Look, I turned 18. I didn't vote till I was 21, so I got in my early 20s. But, Snoop Dogg said he's going to vote for the first time ever. But it's critical. If you look at, the polls last year, of where the wins came from, there was a lot of black young people that didn't vote. A winner would win by like 30,000 votes, and you'd look at the registrar, and maybe 150,000 kids didn't vote. So it's critical for them to understand, a lot of them are on their parents' insurance until they're 26 and all that kind of stuff. They need to understand that at some point they're going to be there. So they got to get involved in voting, not only nationally, but most importantly on the local level. That's where a lot of people forget to vote. And so I think it's critical that LeBron and what he's doing is all these other CP3 and what they're doing. It's critical. It's not just an event. It's critical to keep going.
For me, I think this is like a starting point, and James hit on it. It's just not, on a national scale, it's on a local scale, because that's where a lot of things can get changed. Now you're looking at who's this sheriff in office. Oh, we got to vote for him. Who's this guy? Who's your mayor in office? And this is where it starts, because this can open your eyes up and say, well, it's not just the national stage, it's a local stage that we can get somebody in there that we believe in. We can get somebody in there we have some type of confidence in, that's not going to only look out for the big dogs. And that's what these guys are learning little by little. I had to learn that. We all have to learn that little by little and move on and not just sit back and say, well, my vote don't count, because your vote does count.
Good work, guys. All right, 2020 has been like a year unlike any other. For more, go to Allie Clifton.
And you call on number 11 for that over here, because that's right. 2020, it has been tough as
Earth fire of hope back to life was the instantaneous support of other sports teams and athletes. Major League Soccer, in which only 26% of players are black, postponed 5 games that day, with players from 2 teams, Inter Miami and Atlanta United, locking arms and refusing to play. Major League Baseball, with only about 8% African-American players, also joined in, with players from the Milwaukee Brewers, Cincinnati Reds sitting out their games, and the Seattle Mariners voted unanimously to postpone their Wednesday game. In the past, these mostly white sports would have taken days, even weeks to respond, let alone join in any form of protest, especially boycotting games. When I boycotted the 1968 Olympics because of the gross racial inequities, I was met with a vicious backlash, criticizing my lack of gratitude for being invited into the air-conditioned big house where I could comfortably watch my community swelter and suffer. This week, American athletes demanded better and rekindled our hope in America. James Kareem talked about boycotting in 1968. Here he is, 52 years later, fighting the same fight for social justice, and the voice just as powerful.
Yeah, if anybody knows the history of this country, who's lived it from the Harlem Renaissance to the current, is Kareem. He's a history, major, and he grew up in Harlem, and he used to tell me, or in New York, and he used to tell me about going to Harlem and seeing all the injustices. So he grew up with it. He said he would never go to school, in the South, because he just wasn't welcome. He could have gone anywhere. He came out to UCLA. So Kareem gets it. He understands it. He's a big-time activist, and it's because of guys like him, Jim Brown, Bill Russell, Muhammad Ali, and guys like that is why guys like LeBron, and these young kids today who are historians, they understand the purpose, and Kareem hit it right on.
You talked about hope. Do you feel the same way?
You have to feel that way. You have to feel like things are going to get better. You got to have some type of hope. If you don't have any type of hope, then you're going to sit at home in the darkness and you're going to wither away. And you don't want that. You got to have a hope just for yourself, for your kids, and for the people around you, because that beacon of light that we get from hope is what keeps pushing us every day to get out of bed, knowing that we're out here trying to do something special, that we're out here trying to make a better day for our kids and their kids. So it's like I said, you got to have the hope.
For those that sit on the side and say, yeah, but what are you going to change? Kareem hit it on the head. Big game. Soccer, baseball, WNBA, boycotting games. This would have never happened back when you played and he played. So it's happening. And that's change right there. And that's the hope he's talking about.
If I'm not mistaken, I think that same year, 68, was the same year that the track stars who won medals, they were protesting what was going on. Not only that, the Australian guy who was on the podium with them, he was protesting what was going on back in Australia. And during that time, you just, it was a lot of negative, media towards you. Kareem experienced it for not going to the Olympics. Muhammad Ali experienced it. Elgin Baylor, I heard some of the stories that he experienced. So it's good to see that it's grown to this point, to where, Major League Baseball, soccer, all over the world, they get it.
Yeah. Did that surprise you on that same day where we were here together when you saw MLS and Major League Baseball?
Well, some of it did.
Yeah.
A lot of it did, because we're so united as brotherhoods and athletes, and that includes the women athletes, that when the NBA stepped up, and like I said before, I was so happy that it was the Milwaukee Bucks playing that first game. Yeah. Because this happened in Milwaukee, and they were the first ones to step out, and then they kind of followed suit, and then the Milwaukee Brewers followed suit, and it brings such joy to your heart to see that these athletes are taking a stage and realize, hey, I'm going to show you. You talked about Cap taking a knee. Now I'm going to show you what we can do. We're going to sit out this game. We're not just going to take a knee. We're going to make you sit out this game. Now you need content to talk about us not being there. Now the content has to be filled with why we stepped away from the game, and put it on your mind and put it out there for everybody to see.
All right, the NBA and its players union announced a plan to use arenas as polling locations available for the upcoming November presidential election in their arenas as part of an agreement to resume playoff games. During his pregame media session, Frank Vogel spoke about Staples Center being added as a polling location for November's election.
It's something that I know that the Lakers have been working on for some time, and I'm not sure what happened in the last couple of days, but obviously with what the players did in terms of sitting out games and making sure that we address these issues of potentially using NBA arenas for voting sites really helps the cause, and this is positive change, and this is what we're all in this for. We're going to be vocal, but it's really about action, and this is a huge step just for creating a venue where there's not going to be any reason for people in the LA community or LA County to not vote. A lot of times there aren't enough sites, and there's long lines and whatnot, and people aren't able to. So credit the Lakers, credit AEG and LA County for getting this done.
LeBron James, home court change isn't made sitting on the sidelines. More than a vote, hashtag Black Lives Matter. Keep it here for Game 5 as the Lakers look to eliminate the Blazers. Dion Waiters is a game-time decision. Frank Vogel expects him to play, but Dion is suffering from a migraine. And coming up, we'll look back at the role LeBron James played in the league's decision to return to play.